Guess what? Sharpie has paint pens now. Is this Muse? Hey Muse. Today, I'll be testing and reviewing the brand new Sharpie Creative Markers. This one's upside down. I have 2 packs, as you can see, the bullet tip and brush tip. Each set comes with 12 markers, and supposedly they're supposed to be able to draw on paper, wood, glass, rock, canvas, and even more. The big question is, are they better than Posca? I don't know yet, but we're gonna find out. And of course, I'm going to create some artwork, including a vinyl sticker design, plus a Posca versus Sharpie half and half drawing. Also, I'm extra excited because Skillshare is sponsoring this video. We got a sponsor. Thank you so much, Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creative people like us. There are thousands of different classes you can choose from if you want to learn a new hobby this summer or step up your side hustle like me. Currently, I'm trying to learn as much as I can about digital design and small business. Kat Cocolette has quite a few helpful classes about creating art in Procreate, including this one on how to draw seamless patterns. I've always wanted to learn how to do this. It looked so difficult, but Kat makes it really easy. And now I'll be able to apply the technique to products that I plan to sell in the future. You can invest in yourself too. The first 500 people to use my link will receive a free 1-month trial of Skillshare. What are you waiting for? Get started today. There's actually lots of cool stuff there. Before we get into the drawing, so let's swatch all the colors and see what we have to work with, compare them to the Poscas, all that stuff. We're gonna do the pink. And I like that they're already activated. When you buy a Posca, oh, see the tip here? It's not activated. You have to do all this shaky shake and pressy press, and it takes a little while to get the marker going. Ooh, looks are very deceiving because it doesn't look like it should bend. It's really juicy. The lid is easy to take off. That is always a plus. So are Poscas. So here we have the brush. Oh, this one's a little bit more flexible and it has a precision tip, whereas this one is a little bit thicker. But when compared to Posca, the bullet nib, it doesn't move at all. Let's get up close. I'm gonna swatch all the Sharpies, both sets, and then I'm going to pick Poscas that are the same color or close in color and do 12 of those as well for the swatches to compare. Let's go ahead and start with the bullet tip Sharpie marker. The cap is really easy to take off. I appreciate that because some markers, it can get really difficult. I also like the size of the nib and the fact that the ink is already activated. You don't have to do any extra work. It's all ready to go. Also, here's the Sharpie compared to a couple different sizes of Posca paint pens. For the swatching, I have gathered a small collection of items, some white and black paper, metal cans, and wood, glass, rocks, plastic. Hey, those are not yours. Excuse me, sir. No, I didn't set up this spot for you. After Phoenix decides to move, we're going to be using some white cardstock scrap paper and, come on, and a piece of black paper that I tested Jelly Roll pens on. You wanna hold that? Let's see how many likes we can get for your pink toe beans. The time has come to swatch, and I swear Phoenix moved on his own. He's bird watching. We're gonna be starting with white, so you won't be seeing that one on the white paper. But then we're gonna move on to gray, and now I guess some ASMR of how the nibs sound. Please ignore that some of the swatches at the very end got less visually appealing. Also, here's an overview, and you can see that there's a little bit of flakiness. I can't tell if this is the ink kind of balling up on itself or if it ate away at the paper. It doesn't seem like, I don't know. And by the way, here is a Sharpie bullet tip compared to a Sharpie brush tip. And then that same brush tip compared to a couple of Poscas. Let's go ahead and try the brush tips now. I actually thought that I would like the brush tips a lot better, but I actually find that it's harder to create the hearts and there's less control over the tip because it's so bendy. But I will say that having the little precision at the end, it makes for some great detailing options. Also, for those of you who enjoy calligraphy, maybe this brush marker would be something that you enjoy trying. I'm not very good at lettering personally. Let me demonstrate one more time with a larger color swatch. We're gonna do white pens on black paper. Interesting, the bullet tip seems more opaque than the brush tip. I almost ran out of room for the pink and purple ones at the bottom, oops. And then I did the other side of swatches, of course, with the brush tips. I'd say aside from purple and maybe blue, but that's even questionable, the bullet tip, the ink is a lot more opaque, or subtly more opaque it looks like, than the brush tips. Now it's time to swatch the Poscas. There are a few I don't have the bigger tip available in, however that shouldn't affect the color comparison. A couple things I noticed with Posca compared to Sharpie is the fact that the colors of Posca appear to be more bold and vivid, kind of a brighter tone, I guess you would say. Also, aside from a little bit with the lime green and the purple maybe, I didn't notice the flakes with the ink. Now for some Posca paint pens on black paper action. Wow, Posca really fades into the black paper compared to Sharpie. The lime green is basically disappearing. You can go and add another coat, but if you do it too quickly, it rips up the paper and eats away at it. I'm gonna doodle something that I can use for a vinyl sticker for my online shop. Because I've been creating on YouTube for over 14 years and have almost 800 videos, I enjoy making product designs that lean heavily on SoCraftastic nostalgia. Anyone recognize this cute little owl? I don't think I've ever made him green before, unless you count the polymer clay days. So I chose to fill in most of the body with this lime color. Then for the face and belly fluff areas, I'm using turquoise. Even though the markers contain acrylic paint, the first layer looks quite streaky. Definitely not as smooth and seamless as actually painting with acrylic paint and a paintbrush. But that's okay, because after coloring in both wings, the orange beak, his 2 sets of talons, and all the details in both giant eyes, I went back in around various parts of the drawing to build up another layer of color. This time I paid more attention to creating aesthetic, yet subtle texture, especially for the chest and wings. After all the ink was completely dry, I erased all the pencil guidelines and now he's photo ready. Now that I created this cute design, I can go ahead and digitize it using the Procreate app in my iPad. This video isn't about digital art, so I won't make you sit through all the steps, but essentially I used my Sharpie Owl Doodle as a guide so I could trace all the outlines here in the Procreate app and make an owly twin. Hoot hoot. That was so lame. Okay, now before we get into the final drawing, let's see how acrylic paint pens draw on other materials, such as these 2 tin cans. They're duct tape desk organizers that I crafted many years ago. By the way, it does say on the Sharpie Creative Markers to store them horizontally, so when you see them vertically, I just did that for camera purposes, and I'm not gonna leave them like that. So here we have the little demo. Both brands are going on really smooth, and it looks like Sharpie is slightly more difficult to scrape off, so I guess that's a good thing, depending on what you want to do with them. For these 2 rocks, I'm going to combine both brands of the paint pens, and the first one you can see I'm making this little strawberry. It's kind of wonky, but I think you can tell what it is. And then on the other one, I'm adding yellow dots in. I did the rest of it off camera because it's hard to film this small and something so wobbly. So these are the 2 designs. I don't know if I regret the black outline on the strawberry, but this is what I ended up with. I tested both types of markers on these popsicle sticks. I want you to guess in the comment section below if you think Sharpie is on top or on bottom. So top stick, bottom stick, whatever you want to comment. But let's now do a flip reveal. Oh my gosh. So Sharpie's on top and surprisingly, Posca's on the bottom. I don't know if you can tell, but Posca bleeds quite a bit into the wood grain. No, don't eat it. Will the Posca bleed? Ooh, wait, not on this one. To be extra fair, I tried to find the smoothest popsicle stick that I could possibly find. And we're gonna try again with the Posca. Oh, it's bleeding again. It's definitely bleeding again. But not the Sharpie. Drawing on glass is satisfyingly smooth, but keep in mind, the marker's not gonna stay on this forever if it gets scratched or anything like that. Same with plastic. So I guess it's a good idea if you want to draw on something and wipe it off and draw again, I guess. Recustomize. Wow, Posca comes off way more easily. I wasn't expecting that. Although maybe I should have because I accidentally smeared the star. The final material test before getting into some drawing is this canvas panel. Let's go ahead and do orange for this. Very, very smooth. I like. That was a Sharpie. Not very smooth. Ew. That's really rough. I'm shocked. Just kidding. I won't make you listen to the full scratchy swatch again. Gross. By the way, Phoenix and Muse stole one of the rocks and they are having the best time. I shouldn't even be surprised. They take all my things. Now it's time to put these markers head to head in a drawing. Sharpie versus Posca. Where did that go? If I don't destroy them first. Okay, let's go. Ta-da! It's a rose sketch. And some water brushes I got from Nerdy Crafter. Okay, so I lied. Kinda. I'm actually painting instead of drawing with the paint pen ink for this battle between Sharpie and Posca. Straight up coloring with the markers wouldn't have allowed me to get such light colors. Plus, using water with acrylic paint pens makes blending so much easier. As you can see, I tried to make the innermost part of each petal as opaque as possible. Then I blended that out to be a lighter gradient. Sometimes I do go in directly with the marker tip as well. And after I have all the petals filled in, I give them a bold outline. Then I go ahead and finish this half with some white highlights and dots. Now it's Sharpie's turn to steal the spotlight, potentially. At first, I was having a little trouble building up the color. So I do notice that this ink is a bit more difficult for me to blend than the Posca's, but I stuck with it and was patient and finally got some results I was happy with. My goal was to keep the style of shading on this side as close as possible to the other half. So I emphasized the outlines of the petals and added fun highlight areas again. Ultimately, I decided against a stem for now. I don't know if I'll add it back in later, but I went ahead and erased that part. I don't know, I just didn't want to ruin anything. Maybe in the future I'll add some leaves. Do you have any ideas? Let me know what you think. And do you think that one side even looks any different than the other? Does one side look better to you? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know if you like Sharpies or Posca better. Muse almost fell. Girl, are you okay? I hope that you all have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you very soon in my next video here on SoCraftastic. Bye. Pick up the markers that I dropped everywhere. Okay, where's this one? Here's one. Marker on the ground. It's saved.